If you want to build a mindset that nothing can shake, the very first step is mastering your inner world before trying to conquer the outer one. Because here's the truth, most people are fighting the wrong battle. They're spending their lives trying to control circumstances, other people, and random events. All things that will always be, to some degree, outside their grasp. And when life doesn't cooperate, they feel powerless. But the people who become unbreakable operate from a completely different understanding. They realize that reality isn't what happens to them, it's how they interpret and respond to what happens. Think about this. Two people can go through the exact same experience, and one will spiral into despair while the other uses it as fuel. The difference isn't the situation, it's the internal framework through which they process it. The outer world is filtered through the inner one, and if that inner world is chaotic, fearful, and reactionary, then even small challenges will feel overwhelming. But if that inner world is grounded, focused, and disciplined, even chaos starts to feel manageable. That's why every lasting transformation begins inside. Your thoughts are not random. They're the architects of your emotional reality. Every emotion you feel is born from the story you're telling yourself about what's happening. And here's where most people give away their power. They let those stories run on autopilot. They accept every fear, doubt, and insecurity as truth instead of questioning where it came from and whether it serves them. The moment you interrupt that pattern, the moment you stop being a passive participant in your own mind, you begin to reclaim control. Start by observing what's happening internally. What do you focus on when things go wrong? What language do you use when you talk to yourself? Do you spiral into, why me? Or shift into, what can I learn here? That small shift in attention and language is the difference between suffering and strength. It's training your mind to become your ally instead of your saboteur. Now, mastering your inner world doesn't mean you never feel fear or doubt again. It means you stop being controlled by them. It means you learn how to use them as information rather than identity. Fear can inform you without defining you. Doubt can challenge you without stopping you. Emotional mastery isn't about suppression, it's about direction. Learning how to channel your inner state in a way that supports your purpose instead of sabotaging it. And here's where philosophy meets practicality. Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius understood this centuries ago. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's not just ancient wisdom, it's a psychological fact. Your brain is constantly interpreting the world, and those interpretations shape your experience more than the events themselves ever could. Once you understand that, you stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable, and instead focus on mastering the only thing that truly matters, your response. The most resilient people you know aren't necessarily the ones with the easiest lives. They're the ones who built powerful internal systems. They train their minds to focus on solutions instead of problems, to find meaning in pain, to remain centered when everything else is spinning. And because they built that inner strength, they walk through storms with the same calm they have on sunny days. This is the essence of becoming untouchable. You stop letting the world dictate who you are and how you feel. You stop being at the mercy of conditions and start being guided by conviction. Once your internal state becomes your foundation, the external world can roar all at once, but it can't move you. One of the most liberating shifts you'll ever make in your life is understanding the difference between what you can control and what you can't, and then pouring your energy only into the first category. Most people live in a constant state of frustration because they're fighting battles they were never meant to win. They try to control outcomes, people's opinions, timing, circumstances, and when reality doesn't bend to their will, they feel powerless. But power was never supposed to come from control. It comes from command. The command over your choices, your focus, your mindset, and your actions. Think about how much of your daily stress comes from things that are completely outside your influence. The weather, the economy, someone else's behavior, the past. None of these are within your grasp. Yet we let them dictate our mood, shape our decisions, and steal our peace. That's not strength, that's slavery to the uncontrollable. But the moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable and commit fully to mastering your own responses, your life changes. Because what truly determines your destiny is not the external event. It's your internal command over how you deal with it. The most resilient people are not those who never face chaos. They're the ones who've trained themselves to stay centered when chaos hits. They don't waste energy wishing things were different. They immediately focus on what they can do. They can't control the storm, but they can control how they steer the ship. And that shift in focus from complaint to command is what separates those who crumble from those who rise. It's also deeply psychological. Your brain is wired with a limited amount of attention and energy. Wherever you place that focus, that area grows in significance. If you constantly focus on what's out of your control, you feed feelings of helplessness and anxiety. But if you focus on your choices, your actions, and your mindset, the things that are always within reach, you feed your sense of agency. That shift rewires your relationship with life itself. Suddenly, obstacles become puzzles to solve, not punishments to endure. This is not just philosophy, it's practical power. You can't control if someone betrays you, but you can control how you heal what you learn and how you set boundaries moving forward. You can't control whether a business deal falls apart, but you can control how quickly you adapt. what lessons you extract, and how you prepare for the next opportunity. In every single challenge, there is always something you can command, even if it's just your attitude. And that just is everything, because attitude is the lens through which your entire experience is filtered. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that power lies in certainty, in knowing how everything will unfold. But life is not designed to be certain, it's designed to test you. Real power comes from adaptability, from your ability to meet uncertainty with clarity, chaos with composure, and setbacks with strategy. And that adaptability is born the moment you accept that you are not here to control the wind, you are here to master the sails. This is also where emotional maturity comes into play. Reactivity is the default of those who feel powerless. They lash out, shut down, or spiral because they feel like life is happening to them. But when you step into command, you stop reacting and start responding. You become intentional, deliberate, strategic. And that shift from reaction to response is the difference between living as a victim and living as a creator. The truth is, life will always contain elements you cannot control. That's not a flaw, that's the design. The question is, will you waste your strength trying to change the unchangeable, or will you channel that strength into mastering what's yours? Because once you do, external chaos loses its power. It might roar, but it can't rule. Adversity is the one thing every human being is guaranteed to face, and yet it's the one thing most people spend their lives trying to avoid. We're conditioned to see hardship as something unfair, something that shouldn't happen. But that belief is exactly what makes us fragile. The truth is, adversity isn't here to break you, it's here to build you. And once you understand that, you stop seeing struggle as a wound and start wearing it as armor. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Every great transformation in history, personal or collective, was forged in the fire of challenge. Think about your own life. The moments that shaped you the most weren't the easy ones. They were the ones that tested you, pushed you, and forced you to grow beyond who you were. Pain is the universe's most honest teacher. It strips away illusion, exposes weakness, and demands evolution. And while most people run from it, those who rise in life lean into it. They understand that adversity is not an interruption of the path. It is the path. What makes adversity so powerful isn't the pain itself, but the perspective you choose to attach to it. Pain without perspective becomes suffering. Pain with purpose becomes strength. If you believe a setback is evidence that you're not enough, it will break you. But if you believe that setback is refining you, teaching you, and hardening you for what's next, then it becomes a tool. It's the same event, only the mindset changes. And when you change the meaning, you change the outcome. The most resilient people in the world are not those who avoided hardship. They are those who transformed it. They turned betrayal into boundaries, loss into appreciation, failure into wisdom. They stopped letting adversity define them and started using it to refine them. This is where true power lies, in the choice to turn pain into preparation. It's about deciding that nothing you go through will go to waste. Everything, no matter how painful, will serve a purpose in building the person you are becoming. It's also important to remember that adversity exposes truth. It shows you what you really believe about yourself. It reveals the strength of your character and the depth of your resilience. Most people believe they're strong until life tests them, and that's not a bad thing. That test is the invitation to become the version of yourself that is strong enough. The discomfort you feel isn't punishment, it's the resistance that builds your inner muscle. Without resistance, there is no strength. There's also a deeper philosophical layer here. Adversity forces you to confront impermanence, the fact that everything is constantly changing. And when you accept that, you stop clinging to what was and start focusing on how to adapt to what is. That shift from resistance to acceptance is what turns chaos into clarity. It's what allows you to move through life, not as someone who fears change, but as someone who thrives in it. And here's the paradox: the more you embrace adversity, the less it can hurt you. When you stop fighting against what is and start learning from it, you stop being at its mercy. You become bigger than the problem. You rise above the storm instead of drowning in it. And once you realize that every challenge is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable, you begin to welcome adversity as a necessary part of your evolution. Because the truth is, adversity is not your enemy. It's your ally in disguise. It's the sculptor shaping the strongest parts of who you are. And when you embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. Pain will still visit, but it will no longer define you. It will serve you. And once pain becomes your teacher instead of your tormentor, there is nothing in life that can truly break you. At the deepest level, nothing can truly shake you once you decide who you are and live in alignment with that decision, no matter what the world throws at you. This is the final layer of becoming unbreakable, shifting from being shaped by circumstance to being guided by identity. Most people don't realize it, but they walk through life as reactors. Their sense of self rises and falls based on how things are going. If people praise them, they feel worthy. If they fail, they feel like failures. If life gets tough, they see themselves as victims. Their identity is on a leash, constantly yanked around by external forces. But those who build an untouchable mindset anchor their identity deep within themselves. And once it's anchored, nothing external can pull it out of place. Here's the reality: the world will always try to define you. Circumstances will label you. People will project their opinions onto you. Failure will whisper lies about who you are. But identity is not what happens to you. Identity is what you decide. It's a conscious choice, a declaration of who you will be regardless of conditions. And once that decision is made, it becomes your North Star. It shapes how you think, how you act, and how you respond even when the world is chaotic. When your identity is weak or undefined, life pushes you around. A setback convinces you you're not capable. A betrayal convinces you you're not worthy. A mistake convinces you you're not enough. But when your identity is rooted, when you've decided, I am strong, I am resourceful, I am unbreakable, then even when life hits hard, you bounce back faster. Because you're no longer negotiating with your circumstances over who you are. You've already decided. It's like the difference between weather and climate. Weather changes constantly, sunny one day, stormy the next. That's your circumstances. But climate is steady and enduring. That's your identity. When you build your life around weather, you're tossed around endlessly. But when you build it around climate, you become consistent and grounded no matter what the day brings. This isn't about ego or pretending you're invincible. It's about choosing principles, values, and standards that define you, and living by them when it's hard, not just when it's easy. Identity is forged in the choices you make under pressure. When you're tired but still show up. When you're hurt but still choose love. When you fail but still rise again. Every time you act in alignment with your chosen identity, you strengthen it. And every time you let circumstances dictate who you are, you weaken it. The most powerful people you've ever admired aren't immune to adversity. They've simply anchored their identity so deeply that no external event can uproot it. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison but never let those walls define him. He remained a leader, a visionary, a force for change. Viktor Frankl endured the horrors of a concentration camp and yet held on to his identity as someone with purpose and choice. These individuals remind us that even when everything is stripped away, one thing remains untouchable: who we decide to be. And this is the key. Identity is a decision you reaffirm every day. You don't wait for the world to give you permission. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You decide, and then you act as if it's already true. Over time, that decision becomes who you are. And when who you are becomes stronger than what happens to you, life loses its power to control you.